Jack Posobiec, Washington Bureau Chief with Rebel Media, here at the White House today. It is an extremely large news day, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts. With the Turkish president in town today, we were able to attend that briefing, which is definite first for Rebel Media and the Washington Bureau here. We were very excited to hear both President Trump and President Erdogan of Turkey talk about their improving relations, not only from an economic standpoint, but from a military and strategic standpoint as regards to the current crisis in Syria and the fight, the war against Daesh, the Islamic State, also known as ISIS. They pledged an arms deal between the U.S. and Turkey, which was signed some years ago before the Trump administration. They have planned to uphold that arms deal with Turkey. They will be delivering them on time, the president stated. The Turkish president, in his statement, also made a veiled reference to the independence of Kurdistan. He essentially stated that they would not see any independence for Kurdistan or the Kurdish region which wants to break free from Iraq, Turkey, and Iran. This comes a week after the United States made public plans that they would be funding the YPG Kurdish fighters in their fight against ISIS. During the press briefing today, which also took place off camera. Sean Spicer not appearing before camera today, but did take questions. We have the audio of that. We played it for you. Many questions regarding the Washington Post article, which came out and has been refuted by the president, by the president's staff, the people who attended the meeting, regarding a quote-unquote leak of information or a divulging of classified information by the president to the Russian ambassador when they met last week. Many different narratives on this, and what we saw essentially was another case of dueling narratives between the media party and President Trump. President Trump and his administration held firm to the line that any information that was discussed was wholly appropriate for sharing regarding an airborne threat from ISIS, an issue for aircraft essentially flying over Syria regarding an aircraft that was taken down in 2015 by ISIS, a possible military capability that they have. However, the press was extremely fixated on the question of whether or not this information was divulged to the Russians without the consent, without the knowledge, without following certain protocols of the intelligence community, and essentially setting up a narrative where, once again, feeding into this Trump versus the intelligence community narrative. That narrative was completely pushed back on by Sean Spicer and earlier by General H.R. McMaster, the National Security Advisor, who stated quite unequivocally that all information was appropriate, that was shared, and actually followed the purview of an intelligence sharing agreement that was struck between the U.S. and Russia during the Barack Obama administration just last year. So the press essentially did not like that, and there were some questions about the leaks themselves. Sean Spicer turned back around and said that any leaks of national security information and ongoing leaks that this administration has seen to the press, to the Washington Post, represent a threat and must be investigated and must be stopped. Definitely not happy regarding that. He didn't also comment, and there weren't actually any questions today, on the confirmation by Kimberly Guilfoyle of Fox 5 about being in discussion to replace Sean Spicer as press secretary. Finally, a local reporter here with Fox 5 was able to get a question in to Sean Spicer regarding the murder of Seth Rich, DNC staffer, who has been widely connected to the WikiLeaks release of the DNC emails, which the press and numerous other reports have said was Russia. In fact, these new reports that come out today came out just last night, that Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to his murder happening just 2 weeks before the WikiLeaks release. So a lot of news today. Stick right here on Rebel Media. We will cover everything as it develops with you from the White House. I'm Jack Posobiec, Washington Bureau Chief, Rebel Media.